We had Nokia phones, and they did what we needed them to do in the past. But now we have smartphones, right, with all these things that can happen. So do we want to be stuck in the past, or do we want to be in the future or now and take care of ourselves and protect ourselves, be proactive, because we don't know when something's going to happen.
Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to Run Lead Gen Radio, your go-to podcast for all things digital marketing and growing your business with your hosts, Quinn
and Brian.
And today, you guys, we have the Welches with us. We have Tanya and Al with
Welch Insurance Partners.
Welch Insurance Partners. Yeah, awesome. And we're super excited to have them. Let's dive in. Today, we want to talk about, like usual, everything that it takes to start and grow a business and to get the Welch's perspective on their business and what they're doing. So why don't you guys go ahead and give us a little introduction to who you are, what it is you're doing. Tell us a little bit about you guys.
Okay. Well, like you said, we're Welch Insurance Partners. I have been in the insurance industry for over 20 years. I was captive, which is fine, but we decided we wanted to go out on our own. So we started our own agency, partner with another company that's across the nation. So it's not just him and I, it's thousands of people out there that work with us and help us. And when I started the company, Al had a job at the time. We call it a JOB.
Yeah. A JOB, right? Okay.
On somebody else's time.
Right.
Right. And I was doing supplemental things like that, right? Which is great. But then in June, Al was diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, my goodness.
Stage 3 cancer.
June
of 2022.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. And went back to work, and he lost his job. So we were in financial, right? Like, how do you navigate that financially?
Right.
And so I was on the hunt for what would help people actually get through things like that. And so we found living benefits through life insurance.
Okay.
That is our goal. That is our focus. That is what we want to talk about. And truly just let people know that life insurance is not just death insurance. There's so much more to it.
Sure.
And you can do so much more with it.
Yeah, you say not death insurance. What do you mean?
So when I say death insurance, most people think of life insurance as you have to die for someone else to receive those benefits, which is a good thing, right? Because you want to take care of your family. You want to make sure they're taken care of if something happens to you. But most of us want to live.
Right.
Right. So we do everything we can to live, but that costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just start straining your bank accounts, your savings, your 401ks. Just start liquidating.
Yeah.
Just to stay alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we like to focus on life.
Right.
Not death.
Okay.
And so there is living benefits out there that will help you. That you can have access to that money if you live through a negative life event.
Yeah.
So to us, it's so important. We live through it. We're still living through it. We feel it. We understand it. And so it has become a true passion.
So let's dive into that a little bit and talk about your journey. Let's talk about, so you started a business.
Yeah.
How is that going? I mean, how is Welch Insurance Partners going?
It is going wonderful. You know, it's the best thing that we have ever done.
I love that.
Right? We decide our worth, not someone else, right? It's our time when we need, we have 14 grandkids plus one.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. And if they have a football game at 4:30 on a Thursday, our last appointment is at 3. So we can make sure that we can get there.
Yeah.
Because family is very important to us.
Absolutely.
Our kids and our grandkids. And so truly enjoying life while we're making money. I mean, isn't that a win-win?
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
So
we were talking just briefly before we got rolling. Something that we have said is this is some of the most when becoming business owners and diving into growing other businesses. That's what we do. We've become consumed, almost just completely obsessed with business growth in a healthy way, I would say.
As healthy as possible.
Yeah, we definitely love that. And we, as Brian often says, we like to get after it. We just have a passion for what we do. And that's completely different than our corporate careers, which was essentially the same things that we were doing, but to get into it like this. So we have in our gym, we have a saying on the wall, if not now, then when? And the idea there isn't that you have to do everything right now, although sometimes that does become, a byproduct.
Yeah. Or feels that way.
Right. Yeah. The idea is like, if we're not doing it now, then are we planning to do it? Otherwise, it's not a priority. And we're not here just to dilly dally. We want to get something done, and we want to help others get things done.
In our business, we run across that like a lot with people are thinking about they want to do something. They take the time, set appointments, get all of the information. And the hardest thing for them to do because of life, whether that's their jobs or like whatever, is the final step of getting the process completed. And that's where, for me anyways, I'm like, you've already made the decision. Let's, like you guys said, let's just get after it, get it done. We don't know when things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Like she said, I had stage 3 colon cancer. I'm actually the first person in my family, my mom's or dad's side, to have anything of a cancer. So it was, I was blindsided.
And you said had.
Yeah.
We were very blindsided.
Yeah.
It scared us to death. Like we didn't see it coming. Yeah. We've been married over 20 years. And he's been sick maybe twice. So to be told that you have stage 3 cancer, and if you'd have waited 2 weeks, it could have been even worse. Maybe even
just life changing.
Yes. And going into that point when we had no idea. Right. Yeah. So our business truly is education.
Yeah.
Right. Because the more we know, the better off we are. Right. And so our focus is to educate people, tell people what's out there, answer the questions that they might have. Right. We don't just go in and say, here's a policy, buy it. Right. Mm-hmm. I want to show you why. I want to show you how it helps you, because premiums matter. When it really matters is when you need it and how you can use it. Right. So that education and helping them through that process and things like that is so important to us.
Yeah, absolutely. So how are things going on that front?
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well. We network a lot, right? We talk to a lot of people.
We use my story a lot.
We use his story.
With that, I'm not in remission, but it's in surveillance, which is surveillance is probably the most expensive part of being diagnosed with a life-changing event like that.
Yeah.
Mainly because everyone has health insurance, but these days, health insurance deductible starts over every single year.
Yeah.
So you have to meet that deductible in your surveillance. So it's just money.
And if I can, just maybe I'll attest to my own, testimony of that. We also had a kind of a scare. We had our at the time youngest baby. We were pregnant with our 4th, and he had this lump under his arm, and we had gone to several doctors. Everybody's giving us just completely different opinions of what this is. Some are saying it's nothing. Some are saying it's like a tissue mass and just to let it be. And some people are saying, and so we just never felt comfortable with the unknown, and we just kept searching and doing everything. We ended up having it removed, and comes to find out it's desmoid fibromatosis. It's a as far as we know, a benign but often recurring tumor, and same thing. The cost of that, unknowns, and then the surveillance has been just incredibly difficult for us, right? And so we feel that.
Get this. He goes in every 3 months to his oncologist, and he does a blood test. One test, it detects cancer early, because obviously we want to catch it early if it comes back, not later.
Right.
And because it's called experimental or new, the out-of-pocket cost is to us.
Oh, wow.
And it's $5,000 a test.
Oh, my goodness.
So these living benefits that we talk about are a real thing. And how that would have helped us, right?
Yeah.
And actually, I'm kind of angry, really, that I wasn't approached. I've been in insurance a long time, and
nobody told you. Yeah.
That's right. So that is why I am so hyper-focused on letting people know that they exist. They're there. It's not expensive. Like that's another myth, right? Like life insurance is expensive.
Yeah.
We can do this on term policies. We can do it on permanent policies. But truly just education.
So
That is
good-
my focus is
Yeah.
education and letting know people that there are ways to save yourself from financial ruin if something like this happens.
Can I ask how that works? So there's certain life events that they say, okay, yes, you can start using this now, or how does that work?
So the way that it works is we have what's called with all policies, there's riders that are added onto a policy. For me, for an example, if I would have had one of our policies, it was a critical illness rider I could have been able to use. So all of the policies that we work with have what we call living benefits with it that has a terminal critical illness, critical injury, or even chronic, which is like long-term care, all baked into the policy without any additional costs. And at the end of the day, it's relatively the same exact premium. But since we're talking about that, one of the things I do like to tell a lot of clients, because they think if this is coming with it, it has to be a whole lot more. So one of the things I say is, let's say you go to a car lot. You see the car that you want. They're exactly the same, except for there's two differences. One of them has air conditioning and heating, and it's going to cost you $1,000 more. Which car do you buy?
The one with or without.
Right? You've got to have the AC in the summer. There's no getting around that.
So you would buy the one with air conditioning, right? Now the $1,000 is just an example. That's definitely not what it
Yeah.
costs.
Sure.
The difference in cost. But it's the old kind of life insurance, right? People just bought it for when they die and they pass it on to their beneficiaries or their family or whatever. But this is the new kind, right? This is the new kind of like. I just did an example the other day. We had Nokia phones and they did what we needed them to do in the past. But now we have smartphones, right? With all
Right.
these things that can happen. So do we want to be stuck in the past or do we want to be in the future or now and take care of ourselves and protect ourselves, be proactive because we don't know when something's going to happen.
Yeah. So
Very
talk to
cool.
me, you guys now, it's been 2 years that you've done this. So, and you're thriving and you're here. So let's talk about how are you finding clients? How are you getting yourself out there? Where's the awareness taking place? What does that look like?
Again, we do a lot of networking.
Okay.
Can I say BNI?
Yeah, absolutely.
So BNI is one of my favorites. I love BNI. I believe in it. We go to not only our own chapters, but we go to other chapters. We just talk to people. We have one-to-ones, like sit down with each other one-on-one and talk about it. And we go to markets. We go to, at family reunions or gatherings. We just tell everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
You're spreading the good news.
We really
that's
are.
right.
And then it's up to them, right? If they want to know more, that's great. If they don't, that's great too, because we have found that it's their timing.
Yeah.
Some people are ready, some people are not. You just, when they are, they come back and are ready to talk to them.
So we know, even large companies, Apple and Google, they have evangelists, people that go out and just are so sold on the product, the service, the vision, the trajectory, the mission. And frankly, those are the companies that are thriving, people that are passionate about what they're doing. And so that's contagious.
It really is.
And so if you're looking at business and you're looking at growing a business or you're a marketer and you are not an evangelist in some way, right? You don't have that passion, your sales will suffer. Your business growth will suffer. So I definitely stand behind that.
Well, one thing I can say about you guys, and that's one thing I do love about you, is I feel the passion. I feel the excitement in what you do. And so it comes into me. I feel it when you talk about it. So, and that's what I hope I'm doing for other people too. When I talk about these living benefits, I hope they feel that passion,
Yeah.
right? I want them to. And we care about people.
Yeah,
We really do,
do.
because at the end of the day, I can't take the disease away if you get cancer. I can't take the emotional part out of it because it is emotional. But I want to help you with the financial piece because nothing keeps you sicker than worrying about your finances and how you're going to pay the mortgage and how you're going to keep food on the table and how you're going to keep the kids in the sports that they love, right?
Oh,
So if you had these living benefits where you could access that money to be able to keep all those things in place, that makes me feel good that I can help you that way.
Yeah.
It's a game changer.
It really is.
I wish I would have had the policy. Our life could have been so much different, but we do have passion. And going back to speaking about, if you don't have a passion in a business that you're thinking about starting or running, I just don't think it's going to work out. I think people will see that you don't have that passion in there. And
Well said.
I have passion, and I think the passion I got was just really from what I went through, for one, and then just getting further and further into what our business allows us to do and to actually teach other people.
Yeah.
We've always been educational and customer service oriented. And like wife was saying, it's everybody has their own time. We've had clients, we talked to them 6 months ago, and then they reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in this now. What can we do?
Yeah.
And normally it comes with, they had a scare that provoked them, but everyone has a different thing that provokes them.
Yeah. You know, we're kind of in an interesting business because our business is growing business. And so I feel fortunate and lucky to have caught the entrepreneurial bug early in life, because now it's kind of this almost recurring cycle. It's like, as I grow my business, I'm growing other people's business, which then it reincites the interest to grow my business. And it's just kind of, it fuels and feeds itself. And I have found, I'm so excited to watch. And I think this is where my passion comes in. When I see a business and I'm talking to them and they're struggling, we just want to give so much free to them, because we're like, there's so much you guys can do right now to grow your business. And I think, Al, you nailed it on the head. Not only if you're not passionate about something, will the people not feel it, but you're gonna hit those roadblocks and those headwinds, and if without the passion, you're not gonna be able to power through that. So I think part of what we talk about on this podcast often is you've got to push through the hard. And you've got to, my dad always used to say, keep on keeping on, right? You've got to just like sit in the grind and feel it and then keep going. And that is ultimately, at the end of the day, all these self-help books, all these business books that you read, that's what it comes down to, is just the grit, the gumption, right? The internal motivation to get through it.
Know your why.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely know your why. Because if you don't know your why, then you're grasping at everything, right? We know our why. We know why we're doing what we're doing, right? And that also helps us too, right? We have good days, we have bad days, but because of our why, we keep going. Like you said, we sit in it and we keep going and just keep moving forward.
So the quote that I brought to BNI this last week, I stumbled across it in putting together a presentation for somebody. It's Henry Ford, and I'm going to botch it, so nobody quote me, but it says something like, coming together is a beginning, working together is progress.
Yes.
And, the last part is, no, I said it wrong. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is a progress, working together is a success.
Yeah.
And you can see Henry Ford being one of those people pivotal to building systems to build a business beyond what him as a single person could do. And that's what we do. We build systems. And a lot of times we'll get people, especially in the earlier stages of business. Our business thrives when people are a little bit further along than just starting out. We can certainly help people that are just starting out, but often those early birds, they get cold feet and they start to see all the things that have to happen, and they start wondering if they're on the right path. And something we often say is like, hey, whether you do this today or 10 years from now, this isn't going away. You have to build the systems. You have to build the awareness. You have to build the marketing channels so that you can grow the business beyond what you are yourself. And that quote of Henry Ford saying, coming together, that we began, staying together, that's where we're progressing. That's where we're in the middle of the grit and grime, right? Yep. And then working together, now choosing each other and partnership and like understanding where and how we complement each other, that's where success is found.
Absolutely,
Well, this is like a quote that, and I'm going to completely botch this, but it's by Warren Buffett. And it goes something like, it is hard for people to dedicate 3 years to building their business, but they would dedicate 40 hours a week to build somebody else's.
Yeah,
years.
absolutely.
40 years.
40 years.
That's
That's the only part.
40
I
years.
botched.
Yeah. 40 hours a week for 40 years. That's all you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And it's like, when you're looking at a business like that, it's like, do you want to do the work for yourself to have freedom to do things on your own, or do it for somebody else so they could have the freedom to do whatever they want whenever they want? And
Yeah.
I think we chose to do that ourselves, along with the passion that we have for it. I learned very shortly that my license allows me to do a lot of things besides just selling people death insurance.
Yeah.
Is what I learned. And a lot of people with my license, they were just pushing the death insurance day in and day out.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of CUs, educating ourselves on what we could do to provide really the best for any circumstances in someone's life.
Yeah.
So it's not always just about someone has to die.
We've said before, we feel that we have a, quote, better mousetrap than many in our industry. And we've kind of, we've thrown punches at the marketing industry here and there because we feel like we can do better. Right.
Absolutely.
But I think something else that we've said is like, look, we don't have to solve the world's problems.
Yeah.
We don't have to be the biggest agency that ever was. For us to live the life that we're trying to live, to meet the goals that we're trying to meet, to build people around us, to build community. And that is also motivating. We don't have to go and be perfect. As people often say, perfect is often the enemy of good, right? Just go build something good. Work hard at building something good. And if you scale to success, great. But also like enjoy, and this is something I'm working on personally in my own life right now, enjoy the journey. It's difficult, but like there's power in now and being present and mindful. And
Absolutely. We also, together we work in abundance, not scarcity, right? Which is also powerful too.
I love that.
If you can put your mind in abundance instead of scarcity, it shows up for you, and you find the right people, and the right people will listen. And we also have another saying too. It's you can't tell the wrong person the right thing, but you can tell the right person the wrong thing.
I'm pretty sure I quoted.
Did I broke it?
I'm pretty sure I quoted you telling me that in a 1-to-1 weeks ago on one of our previous podcasts, because it was very.
You can't tell the wrong person the right thing, and you can't tell the right person the wrong thing.
That's right.
Cut that out.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. No, and I completely agree, and that's such a good mentality to have. I think that lends yourself to the right psychology for success.
Mm-hmm. And that's all it is being a business owner. It's you just got to go out there and do it. You're going to fail. Learn from the fail.
If you don't,
learn from your fails and move on to the next step.
Yeah.
I've seen another. We do quotes like all the time, but they stick, and it helps us with what we do. And it was, what was it? It's like, you could study so much that you don't do anything, but it's study and have an action go with it. Practice that. Regardless of what business you're in, learn your trade, move on, fail, move on again, learn from your failures and move on.
Yeah.
The only time I think really businesses fail is because they're not willing to move on.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you're doing.
Give up.
Yeah. It's that passion. You got to have that passion to move on and to keep doing what you're doing.
I have one more thought here. So when I was doing my undergrad at SUU in Southern Utah, before TED, sorry, I said that wrong. The TED Talks had TEDx. You could kind of like go and request that you had your own version of TED. And so I don't know what the criteria was, but we had Pam down at SUU. And so it was part of the honors program that I was in, we got to give a PAM talk, which is essentially a TEDx, right? And they pretty much say, find something that you're passionate about and talk about it. My TEDx talk was passionate about being passionate. And why does Ted care about passionate people? And why is Ted talking about, give us a talk about passion? So I gave my talk about why passion is so profound. And it's, I believe I said something like, it's the lens with which we perceive reality. And I think I used an example of a relevant movie back then. It was Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And here you've got this young entrepreneur, inventor, and his dad's a fisherman. And his dad doesn't know how to talk to his son, and his mom had passed away. But his dad was passionate about fishing. Mm-hmm. He knows fishing. So that's how he would speak to his son. That's how he would teach his son, because that's how he understood. And even then, it doesn't matter what you're passionate about. It doesn't matter how technical or otherwise it is. Be passionate about something, because it will fuel your life.
Yeah. I like that.
Honestly, too, though, how do you take, whether it's a product or a service or anything like that, if you don't truly believe in it, how are you going to take that to somebody and say, this is the best thing in the world? If you're not passionate about it, they feel it, right?
Right.
You're doing it for just an hourly paycheck or
Sure.
whatever it is. You feel that passion, right? It doesn't have to be loud or talking or excitement or anything like that. It just oozes out of you. When you're passionate about something, you feel it.
I think it comes from caring about people, because that's the only real reason to be able to get passion, is because you want to help grow people, or you care about the people around you. And so you need that extra spark to help make things go. And so,
we have a client, and this is how passionate I am. We have a client put in an app for her, and we thought it was going to be a certain face amount. And where I'm getting to is that everything was good. She was happy with what it was. And it came back after underwriting to be better than what it was. I almost fell out of my seat just because of like things that were into the application. And I'm like, where's my phone at? I got to call this person, let them know like what's going on. So it's exciting for me. I sleep very well at night when I know I've helped somebody.
I love that. Well, you guys, it's been awesome to have you. And this has been a great conversation. And certainly if anybody's watching and is trying to, make the decision about whether or not to go in on their own thing, or is trying to build a business, hopefully this has been insightful and helpful to you. Welch's, before we end, tell us, how do we find you? Tell us something that we can remember you by. Sign us off with some details.
Okay, so a couple ways. We are on Facebook, Instagram under Welch Insurance Partners. You can also look at our website, which has a ton of good information. A lot of videos at www.welchinsurancepartners with an S.
Okay.
.com. And, we're just passionate about people and life, and whatever we can do, we're just happy to help. We truly are.
I love that. Awesome. Well, thanks you guys for being here. As always, you guys, if you found this to be insightful and helpful, go ahead and like and subscribe so you can stay up on all the latest while we talk about business growth and marketing and tips and tricks and hacks. This has been Run Lead Gen Radio with your hosts, Quinn
and Brian.
And we will help you scale to success.